Hello everyone, this is Jack Frost with your daily update for the Ethereum Technicals and Solana, and today I am doing the weekly charts. On the Ethereum weekly chart, price has broken below this previous consolidation range between resistance up at 4130 and support now resistance at 2800. Price has broken below with this bearish candlestick with support from volume, which you will see in a second, finding support just below 2400 and now moving overall sideways for this last completed week. Volume supports downwards movement with strongest volume on the bearish candlesticks and a push on this most recent completed bearish week, giving support for the breakout. ADX increases with a bearish trend that is not extreme and not yet in danger of ending. On-balance volume has broken below support on this weak range, giving a weak bearish signal. This is only a weak signal as the support range had quite a noticeable slope, only the minimum 2 tests, and was not very long held, though it does still give a bearish signal, and on-balance volume may find resistance at prior support as it continues. RSI is neutral and declining. Money flow also neutral and declining. Neither RSI or money flow exhibit divergence at this time frame, and both have entered overbought, where price found its previous high at resistance at 4130. ATR has overall increased with price declining as price consolidates and declines at this time frame, giving a bullish outlook for volatility. And as this trend indicated by ADX is not yet extreme, it does expect price to continue lower, though as price has found its most recent low at support at 2400, it is possible that that low could be sustained as it comes with a push from volume. Though it is also possible that that push from volume has occurred within the middle of a bearish movement, and we will have to wait for confirmation, as I will detail on the daily chart, for confirmation whether that low may be sustained at this time frame or not. On the daily time frame for Ethereum, we can see more detail for price's decline after finding resistance around 3890. Its last low finding support right at 2100, now increasing and moving sideways within support at 2400 and resistance up at 2720. Volume does support downwards movement at the daily time frame as well, with the strongest volume on the bearish candlesticks and a very sharp push on this last low here, where price found support at 2100. As previously mentioned on the weekly chart, it is possible that this push from volume indicates that the low could be sustained at this time frame, though it is also possible that price continues lower, as a push from volume can occur within the middle or at the end of strong bearish movements. So we will have to wait for confirmation, which I will detail in a minute. ADX is now increasing with an extreme bearish trend. On-balance volume previously breaking out of support, it may find resistance at prior support here. RSI neutral and increasing, having entered oversold, where price previously found support at 2100. Money flow also neutral and increasing. Both RSI and money flow exhibit no divergence at this time frame. ATR steeply declining as price moves sideways for the very short term, giving an overall bullish outlook for volatility. And as this trend indicated by ADX is now extreme, and the previous push from volume on the last low, it is possible that the downwards movement may be over at the previous low at 2100, though we will have to wait for additional strength in upwards movement for confidence in that. At this point, we will wait for price to break above resistance at 2720 or below support at 2400 for confidence in either bullish or bearish movement to continue. On the Solana weekly chart, this wave count sees primary wave 4 complete at this last low here, with primary wave 5 and the end of cycle wave 3 to now move price overall higher. The end of primary wave 4 has found support at the lower edge of this Elliott channel, the Elliott channel drawn using Elliott's first technique from the end of primary wave 1 to the end of primary wave 3, with a copy on the end of primary wave 2. As price moves higher, the end of primary wave 5 and cycle wave 3 may find resistance at the upper edge of this Elliott channel, though as this is a fifth wave ending a third wave 1 degree higher, it is common, particularly at the larger degrees, to end with a blow off top, where primary wave 5 may break above this Elliott channel. If primary wave 4 does continue any lower, it cannot move into primary wave 1 price territory at 26.4105, and cycle wave 3 moves price higher with a target calculated at 2887, which is the 11.09 extreme Fibonacci ratio between that and cycle wave 1. This low at the end of primary wave 4 on the weekly chart. Is this low on the daily chart? We can see more detail for the downwards movement labeled primary wave 4 subdividing as a double combination, and the upwards movement now labeled the beginning of primary wave 5, expected to be within minute wave 1 of minor wave 1 of intermediate wave 1. This expects upwards movement to continue for the mid to long term for the end of cycle wave 3. Within primary wave 5, any second wave corrective movement cannot move below its start at 111.4255, so if minute wave 2 moves any lower, it cannot move below this point. An Elliott channel is drawn around primary wave 4 from the beginning of intermediate wave W to the end of intermediate wave X, with a copy on the end of intermediate wave W. The end of minute wave 1 within primary wave 5 has found resistance just here. and a full break above this channel with a full green candlestick above and not touching would support this wave count, seeing upwards movement to continue. And on the daily alternate chart, this wave count sees primary wave 4 incomplete to move lower for minute wave 3 within minor wave C and intermediate wave Y. A target range is calculated for minor wave C and intermediate wave Y between 95 and 84. 95.3167 is the 1.618 logarithmic Fibonacci ratio of minor wave A, giving us the target for minor wave C, and 84.7439 is the 1.618 logarithmic Fibonacci ratio of intermediate wave W, giving us the target for intermediate wave Y. This gives a broad idea for where these waves may be labeled complete, and a best fit channel is drawn around primary wave 4, with minute wave 2 labeled complete at this last high here. If it continues higher, it may find resistance at the upper edge of this best fit channel, and if it continues above that, it cannot move above the start of minute wave 1 at 193.6182. On the technical weekly chart for Solana, price has consolidated after this last high at resistance at 210, consolidating within resistance around 190 and support between 127 and 118. For the very short term, declining past resistance at 190, currently hovering around support resistance at 157. Volume supports upwards movement with the strongest volume on the bullish candlesticks and a push on this most recent completed bullish candlestick, seeing strength for upwards movement. On balance, volume moves within a range currently giving no signal. ATR has increased along with price, declining as price consolidates and moves overall lower at this time frame, giving a bullish outlook for volatility. And stochastics is increasing at this point, having failed to enter oversold where price previously found support around 127. The model of stochastics and support and resistance suggests an upward swing may continue towards resistance at 157 or up to 175, where price finds that resistance point, and stochastics may enter overbought. On the technical daily chart for Solana, we can see more detail for price's decline after its last high, finding resistance at 190, declining, finding support around 118, and now increasing, moving between support at 127 and resistance at 157. Volume supports upwards movement at this time frame as well, particularly with a push on this last completed bullish candlestick and overall strongest volume on the bullish candlesticks. ADX is now declining at this time frame, showing no clear trend. ATR has overall increased along with price, moving sideways and declining as price consolidates, giving a bullish outlook for volatility. And as ADX declines at this time frame, we use the model of stochastics and support and resistance, which suggests a downward swing may continue towards support around 127, where price finds that support point, and stochastics may enter oversold. Please note that this contradicts the model of stochastics and support and resistance for the weekly time frame, and so at this point we will favor the daily chart for short-term price fluctuations. That's all for me with your daily update for Solana and the Ethereum Technicals. If you do want the Ethereum Elliott Wave count, we have done an update for that today at pureelliottwave.com, so you can sign up for that using the link in the description below. Thank you, and I hope everyone has a good day.